Hi, everybody. This is Joshua Yoder, and welcome to the Joshua Yoder Show. Today, I have a returning guest here, and Charles During, aka Draven Blaze. Draven, thank you for coming.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me again.
It's always fun to hear from you, man. And if I'm
Thank
not
you.
mistaken, we both are coming off some pretty busy weekends.
Very much so. Yep. In different ways, but yeah, very busy for sure.
Yes, and how was the wrestling weekend for you this past weekend?
It was good. I run Radical Wrestling Experience, um, and it was our first show in Jim Thorpe. Um, I ran. I helped my uncle run. We co-ran a company together um, before in Jim Thorpe, but it was a cohesive unit. This is the first time doing it on my own in Jim Thorpe, anyway. And it was a great it was a great time. The fans enjoyed themselves. The wrestlers enjoyed themselves. The show went without any issues whatsoever, and it was such a great time. I had all of my boys here for it. I have four boys and three girls, so of course Aiden's usually always with me, and my youngest is usually with me most of the time as well. But I had my two younger boys with, so it was a good thing to have all the boys there and seeing what Dad does and not just in the ring but in the back as well. And they really enjoyed more than just seeing how the show goes on, but like seeing how it gets put together. So they really like were soaking that up. They like that so much.
No, that's awesome. And to be honest with you, most fans really don't know when it comes to pro wrestling, but
Right.
all you got to do is book matches and this and that. And I'm like, well, that's not exactly like that. I mean, yes, sure,
No.
you got to come up with matches and stuff, but you got to have a
Yeah.
storyline especially if you're going to have a long feud, you know, and not
Yeah.
to, there's a lot of other behind the scenes stuff like, oh, we got to pay people. We got to make sure this works. We got to make sure that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. It seems like booking the matches is the easiest part. Where for me the hardest part is getting the nerves down the day of the show.
Oh,
But for some reason, this show there weren't that many nerves. It was kind of like autopilot. I just had a great feeling about it. I just knew that it was going to be a great show, and it was, and I was great. I was very grateful uh, for everybody that came and either participated in the show, worked the show, that were um, part of my staff, and also for the fans showing up. Like the fans had a really good time.
no, that's awesome. And you mentioned your family. It's always good to have your family with you, especially in times like these. And
Yeah.
I'm glad they had a good time.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
And speaking of family, you mentioned it earlier. We both had two completely interesting weekends.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I got to meet my family, but it was for a sad cause. Unfortunately, I just lost my uncle Dave this past weekend or this past week,
Yeah.
and it's of course it's bound to happen when you have a large family such as mine. But
Right.
it's
It
it's
doesn't
still
make it easier.
it does yeah, true, and it's just my thoughts and prayers for my family and to my Aunt Diane, who's now a widow. I just pray for her and all all the kids and rest of my family. We'll miss you, Uncle Dave. But that's one of the things I kind of want to talk to you about because we talk about both being thankful and well, this coming week will be Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Yep. I'm
And
excited for Thanksgiving.
oh yes, indeed. I mean, my weight gain will probably say different, but
Same.
but yeah, no, but I guess that's kind of one of the themes about this today's episode we're talking about is people who struggle with mental health, but trying to stay thankful for things, and it can be really tough at times when it comes to mental health.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the hardest things to do with mental health is to find things to be thankful for because you're usually pulled in such a dark hole and seems like it's like why should I be grateful for something that is hurting me or why should I be thankful for things when I'm in such a low part. But there's so much more to be thankful for than you realize when you are, in a dark spot, when your mental health is hurting you. And yeah, I would like touching on this subject is definitely important, I believe.
Yeah, no, again, I'll use myself for an example. I sadly have a long history of self harming, and believe me, I've had my days of talking about that. I'm like, why should I be thankful? Why should I be this and that? And I said, well, there's a lot more things that you can be thankful for, and some
Yeah.
of it you may not even realize. Like, for example, like just recently, I wrote a blog post about how it's been 15 years since I lost my grandmother, and I talk about letting go of the pain. Not letting go of her, but letting go of the
Right.
pain, because
Yeah.
all it's really doing is hurting you. And like stuff like that, like memories, can be so appreciative, and
Oh, for sure.
and save so many lives. And I think that's what sometimes I think people don't realize is like there have been good memories. They just get too down on themselves and they sometimes forget.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's hard to see the light through the dark. Um, but there's a saying that Critical Acclaim Tattoo had a saying on the back of their shirts, and I love it. It's the most accurate thing you can think of when it comes to even mental health. You need a certain amount of darkness to be able to see the stars.
Oh,
Um,
that's a good one.
so yeah, like you if you're surrounded by light, you don't appreciate the beauty. Like take for example, you're in the city, there's lights all over the place, even in the middle of the night. You got street lamps on, you look up, you can see the stars, kind of. It's not that bad. But you drive out to the middle of the woods and look up, and the woods are bright because of how bright the stars are, and the moon. And so like you can see how bright they are by being in that darkness. Now, I'm not saying stay in the darkness. I'm just saying being in the darkness, you're able to see that there is light. um and that's something that takes a lot of self-talking. Like you're it's hard to just there's no just snapping out of it of, okay, I'm good. Like, I'm going to be thankful for everything in the world now because I should be. um it requires a lot of like looking in within yourself and looking at the things around you. For instance, like I have one kidney. I donated a kidney to my dad back in 2008. We were told then that the average life for a donated kidney is anywhere between 14 to 15 years. Now, if we do the math, that was 17 years ago. And
Yes.
my dad's kidney is like the healthiest thing in his body.
Oh, that's
Uh,
all.
so it's, like I have stage 3A chronic kidney disease now. And that was something that I was worried about. I was like, oh my God, like, if I have this, is that going to affect my dad because my dad has my other kidney? Well, no, it's not going to affect my dad because my dad's diet is different than mine, and he's got medications and stuff that he has to take on a constant basis. Um, but I find thankfulness in the fact that my dad's kidney was supposed to give out 2 years ago, and it's still going. So like that's one of the biggest things I'm ever thankful for, because anytime I see him, it's a reminder of he's still here and his health is still like the thing that almost killed him 17 years ago is the thing that's keeping him alive. And it's one of those things where I can't ever think negatively about how that kidney's doing, because even if it starts fading now, it lasted him longer than it should have. And uh, and I'm grateful, very grateful, very thankful that he's still here. I'm very thankful that the kidney hasn't given up, and I mean he has other health issues for sure, and I worry about those, but that's one thing that I don't have to worry about, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, and that's important too. Like people are like they think like, oh well, you should have like something should have happened to you like say 15 years ago, but now that it's been 30 years. Like little
Mhm.
things like that, I think people need to like sit back and realize, you know, like how like lucky we are just to have that. Like that's a gift.
Yeah, it is. a lot of people look back on their traumas as well, and they let it hold them down. And it's easy to do that because, especially if it's a trauma that came from somebody else that was pushed onto you, it's easy to go down that rabbit hole of, this bad thing happened to me, this bad thing happened to me, and I didn't do anything to deserve it. Correct, you didn't. Especially like if it's something that happened to you as a kid. Like no kid ever deserves any kind of trauma they've gone through. And I've gone through my share. I'm 43 now, so even though I still sometimes sit in my trauma and I get triggered for certain things that I've gone through, I can sit here and say, wow, like that hasn't broken me. That those horrible things that I've gone through, that hasn't broken me. I'm still here. I'm still, fighting. And there are more better days mentally when it comes to those traumas than there are bad. Now, granted, there's more traumas since then into adulthood that, I struggle with as well. And but those are things I'm thankful for, with not getting over traumas, but understanding that they don't define me. My traumas don't define me. They don't tell me who I am. They don't make me do things I don't want to do. They don't create something that's not there. Because I'm still here.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because, like I mentioned before, it took me, well, I can't believe I'm admit it took me over a decade to like finally realize, like, wow, I was self-harming, and like you said, it doesn't define me. Like, yeah, there's been plenty of triggers. Like, I have a tough time, like, and it has affected my writing because I like every time I try to write something that I like, I think back of like those traumas or like wow, could this even happen to me in real life? And I'm like thinking, man, I don't know if I could write this now. And then I get really depressed over it and then frustrated. But then I'm just kind of like what you said. I'm like, well, I'm still here. I mean, like, there has to be a reason. You know what I mean? Like, there's all the years I may have been abusing, like self-harming myself because of, my traumas. It still like shows I'm still here. So it has to be like a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that stuff's important to like think of. And granted, it is tough, when it comes to that stuff, because like you said earlier, yeah, some bad things happen to you and it's okay to be frustrated, but
it is.
Yeah, and you shouldn't hurt yourself or even people that didn't deserve it, and I think that's what people, especially unfortunately nowadays, seem to do that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's the very unfortunate part. Like you just said, they hurt other people, and it's like, I didn't hurt me. This person didn't hurt me. So me hurting this person hurts them, and then it hurts me because I feel bad for hurting them, based off of something that somebody else did to me many, 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 many years ago. And that's a hard cycle to break. And and as you know, it's not an overnight boom, now I got it, I understand it thing. It's a process. It's a hard process to learn. I myself, I'm a very big advocate of therapy. I don't think it's for everybody. It definitely helped me. It's worked for me. I think that if you try therapy and it doesn't work for you, then it's not your thing. But I also think that you should try to find ways to help yourself at that point then. Because here's the thing, hurting you doesn't just hurt you. It hurts the people around you. It hurts the people that see you every day, that care for you. It hurts the people that you might not see every day. But let's say, like in our case, you and I get to see you once every few months, right? And I enjoy seeing you. I enjoy taking time out and having a conversation with you and your brother and talking to you guys. That's something that I look forward to anytime I go to HWF. Is there? I know the Yoder boys are going to be there. I get to see them. I get to talk to them for a bit. And so that's something that I look forward to. Now let's say something happens and you hurt yourself. Now I'm going to be hurt by your absence, not being there. So it's something that I'm looking forward to is now like, wow, man, that really bummed me out. I didn't get to see them. So even something as small as that, like me seeing you like once every 2 months, 3 months, whenever it is, could impact me if something happened to you. You know what I mean? It definitely changes the way that I come to those shows then. Um, and it makes it a little, it would make it a little harder at that point. Not that I wouldn't continue to go, I would, but it would make it something that now this is something that I have to uh, go through mentally and prepare myself to get to those shows and to perform at those shows as well.
Well, yeah, especially like if like you don't see anything, like I'll use what you just said as an example too. Like say if I did hurt myself,
Mm-hmm.
like now the next show you try to come down, I may be there, but you kind of are still a little worried. You're like, hey man, you good? Or did something else happen?
Right,
So
right,
and granted, like you don't try to do it on purpose to hurt anybody's feelings,
right, right.
but you just at that in those moments you just don't realize. And I think that's where like love and understanding can kick in. But also too, I think it's important because one of the things that I've noticed, and this is just like through my own life, I've noticed that like when I acknowledge like what I think is causing the problem or like what I think the issue is, that really settles me down because now I'm like, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
what caused it? Why does it makes me feel it? Or there's things that I like that I'm not sure if I like, but then I'm like, okay, well, how can I do this healthy? Like, what's the right way to go about this that's like healthy, productive, and actually meaningful,
Yeah.
I think a
No,
lot of
absolutely. Yes.
yeah, and without question, like too, and I think a lot of people miss out on that too, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they 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 don't want to acknowledge it or they're scared to acknowledge it.
Yeah. Yeah. Acknowledging things can be scary, because you have to have a certain, you have to admit that there's something going on. And admitting something that is painful is hard to do. It's 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 something that we're not necessarily nowadays programmed to do. You know what I mean? Like we're especially for, and I'm not trying to bring gender into it, but for men, um, for how long have we supposed to been the strong silent type? We have a bad day, just swallow it up and go on like nothing's wrong. Um, and for how long has that affected men? Like higher suicide rates because of not being able to express when something is wrong, or being afraid to because their partner might see them as weak and or feminine. Oh, he's crying. What a girl. Like so things that um, used to be a thing that men used to have to just swallow it all in. They never had to. It's just something that society put on them, not themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's well, yeah. Sorry, I was just going to add on to that, like to your point. What's even crazier is if you look at history, it wasn't always like that. Like
Correct.
if yeah, sure, us we had to be like the strong type because obviously we can do be more physically and all that stuff. But
Mhm.
what a lot of people don't understand was men could still express themselves, especially to their wives, because they were there for that. If something was
Yeah.
wrong, the wife or the girlfriend would come in and like try to help take care of it, and in order to like the kids not to be worried or anything like that.
Right.
They would step in and we would help each other out.
Yes. Yep.
It was all about a teamwork. Happy spouse, happy house.
Yes. Yes. And that's what it used to be. Happy spouse, happy house. Now it's happy wife, happy life. So uh I had a conversation with my 12-year-old son on the way taking him back home to his mom. um he's going through some things of his own, and one of the conversations we had was, it's okay for you to cry. It's okay for you to come home. You've been feeling stressed at school. Somebody made you feel like crap. Somebody said something. Somebody's teasing you. Somebody's bullying you. It's okay to cry. It's okay to write those feelings down and say, this is how I feel. Because if you don't, you're going to bottle it up. And I used soda as a way to express it. I said, if I have a bottle of soda, now I have water here, but if I have a bottle of soda here and I shake it up, pressure is going to build up in that.
Yep.
If I don't cry and let it out, it's that pressure is going to stay in there. I'm going to shake it up some more and I'm creating more pressure. Even though slowly over time, that pressure is going to slowly fade. It's going to get shaken up again and that pressure is going to build again. So at one point, that bottle is just going to explode. Now I get that same bottle of soda. I shake it up. That pressure is building. I let it out a little bit at a time. Let it out. Let it out. After, what, a minute, 2 minutes, I can open up the cap and it's not going to spill. And it's the same thing with your emotions. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out. Because if you build it in, sadness becomes anger. Because you weren't allowed to cry, and now you're angry because you're sad. You need to cry, but you don't want to cry, and all these feelings are they're amplified. So sadness becomes anger, and instead of crying, you're yelling and you're screaming and you're creating a scene, or you're having an outbreak. And so people who see other people, having a meltdown, it's because they don't know how to regulate emotions as they're coming. And so letting those emotions happen and feeling those emotions and allowing yourself to feel them and not feel shame for them. That's a big one, because somebody feels sadness. I shouldn't be sad. No, yes, you should be sad. You have every right to be sad. I'm angry because I feel this way because somebody did me wrong. Yes, you're allowed to feel that way. You're the only one that's allowed to feel the way that you feel about something. I can feel something totally different than you. We can have the same exact thing happen to us at the same exact moment by the same exact person, but we could also feel two different things from that. And it all depends on how you, one, accept what you're feeling and how you break that down and how you release that feeling. For me, I internalize a lot, and then I let it out through wrestling, through training. I bump it out, or one of the things that I try to do as part of my releasing is treating other people good. Somebody treats me bad, I got to treat 3 more people good. That way, 3 more people are feeling better than I'm feeling right now. And so by doing that, I'm trying to create more positivity than there is negative coming in. So if there's one negative in source and I'm outputting 3 positives, I feel like that's creating a better atmosphere around me than holding that in and being angry and just closing people off.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said before, like having more positives than negatives, because I mean, let's face it, nothing's perfect.
Oh no, never.
Lord knows nothing and no one is, but it's just, I think it's important to try to like find ways to I mean, you got to acknowledge the negatives are there, but you got to,
for sure.
Yeah, you got to try to make the positives outweigh the negatives, and that can be tricky,
Yes.
Especially like what we've been talking about too, like the idea of like being thankful. It's like, man, how can I be thankful when I'm feeling depressed or this stuff wronged me? Well, I'm like, well, there's all this other stuff I remember. Oh, I just watched a great football game, or I just watched a great movie. And I said, oh, like, and you'll appreciate this. One of my favorite lines that I like to use to this day is it can't rain all the time.
That's it. That is it. Yeah. I love that saying. I wear that shirt when I wrestle. Yeah. And it's very true. When you think about that saying, like, yeah, it was said in a movie about the rain at that point, but when it was said, it was meant as a double meaning, because she's talking about skateboarding. She's also feeling pain from the loss of Eric Draven and Shelley from the year before. So she's feeling that loss. She's skateboarding in the rain, and he basically just says, "Can't rain all the time." So now there's going to be light, there's going to be sun, there's going to be time that you'll be able to skateboard without the rain, but there's also going to be a time when you don't have to feel hurt from my absence or Shelley's absence. So like, yeah, that was a um, hard hitting message, and also another one from that movie. And it's one that people play on the words of, you know, what happened right after he did this, but they don't understand that uh, the words also mean something. When he says victims aren't we all, and then he shoves a knife into a guy's chest, right? So people's like, oh, you know, that's a great scene. Victims aren't we all? And he created that guy is now a victim of murder. Now, no, he's also saying like everybody is a victim to something. You know, I'm a victim to pro wrestling. Like it's I'm a victim of the abuse that I've gone through. You're a victim of something. Everybody is a victim of something. But Eric Draven is proving that, you know, I'm a victim, but I'm standing up for what's victimizing me. So there's so many times where movies are given lines and they're being used, and people take them sometimes in the most literal sense when they, if you just put a little bit of context, like look into the movie up to that point, and then when he says this, now it has a different meaning. A lot of people just look at it on the surface.
Yeah,
But I like to.
Yeah, no, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, and to add that even further, James O'Barr, when he wrote it, there was so many meanings behind writing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, for example,
Absolutely.
yeah, for example, he lost, you know, the love of his life to, I believe, a drunk driver,
Yeah.
and he just couldn't understand like why someone would do that, you know.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I always felt like I was a weirdo my whole life because I've always been into like the dark gothic stories. But what the reason why I like some of them is because like here's like look how dark that world is. Just like say for the
Yeah.
Crow, that's such
Yeah.
a dark world. But look at those people just trying to get by and love like try to love one another and be there for one another.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's one of those things where you can look at that movie and say, yeah, but there was more bad guys than good guys. Was there? Was there more bad people than good people? You only saw the bad, but everybody else that was in the movie, uh, you know, you look at the officer, you look at the guy in the hot dog shop, you um, look at the passerbys that have nothing to do with the movie. Those aren't bad people. Those are normal people. They are good people. They're just, you know, passerbys. Yeah, there's a whole ton of bad guys in the movie, but what happens at the end? Doesn't doesn't the good win at the end? And that's what, once again, that saying of it takes a certain amount of darkness to see the light. You know, he comes back from the dead to avenge his life, and he doesn't know at first, doesn't know what he's there for, and all of a sudden he's get these flashbacks of everything that's happened. He's going through hell in his own head, and I couldn't imagine going through that. But then in the moments of him going back home and feeling everything that he felt, and like, you know what, this is what I'm here for, and then putting on the makeup, putting on the clothes, and then going out and doing what he's got to do, that eventually gets him to where he's got to be, which is back with his, you know, would have been his wife.
Yeah, and honestly, that was probably one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen, and I still get, you know, like teary because I'm like, oh man, I wish, you know, I had like a woman like that, you know, because when Draven's crawling to the grave and he's, you know,
Yep.
with Shelly, and then all of a sudden you see a white light behind him and he's like all beat up and he looks over and he sees Shelly walking towards him. And mind you, she was, let's just say, abused and murdered at the beginning of the film. But the fact that she
Yeah.
still came out like that and then like just showing like, hey, it's still going to be okay. We love each other. We can still be together forever. And I'm just like, wow.
Correct.
Like, I still get
it's
like,
very
wow.
powerful. Yeah. Yeah. I watch that movie as often as I can, and every time I do, it's like I get goosebumps watching it, certain parts and everything. So yeah, it's there's a reason why it's like my favorite movie. So, and you're hitting the nail on the head with everything, because it's not just the writing, it's not just the surface material, it's the stuff underneath that a lot of people miss that I picked up on. even at a younger age watching it, it's like, wow, like this is so much deeper than people realize.
Yeah, and you want to talk about movies that were deeper than you realized. Like, say what you want about like a lot of these action movies, like from the '80s. Like people think, oh, that's just a bunch of big muscle-headed dudes, shooting up big guns. Which, yeah, there's some of that in there. But like,
Yeah.
look at like I think they underestimate how intelligent some of the writing was. Like
Oh, yeah.
Rambo.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
I was taken away by the scene, but now when I understand what it was and why it did it, it was even more impactful. Like that scene, I believe I think it was a diner where he was like, "Nothing is over, nothing," and he starts
Yeah.
just rambling off on stuff about stuff. And I'm like, "Holy crap, that's really good."
Yeah.
Can you imagine like
Yeah.
all the like in real time, like real Vietnam veterans hearing that?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, 100%. Because you figure he comes home and he's being judged, for his appearance and for being in the military, and you have these guys giving him a hard time, and it's like you don't realize the hell that I've been through, and that's why when he's like nothing's over and nothing's over, yeah, no, because he just came back from it and he's thrown right back in it. And a lot of people are, oh well, okay, yeah, oh, like, and let's just take both The Crow and Rambo. Well, those are movies. But it happens in real life. It happens to everybody in real life. It might not be something as dramatic as being thrown out a window and coming back a year later to avenge you and your wife's death, or coming back from a war and being treated like you're garbage and you have to defend yourself against, tyrants. But stuff like that happens all the time. Like normal people face things like that. Normal people face things that, or everyday people, we face things that to us feel that deep. And they look at movies and say, okay, well, what I'm going through isn't that deep. It is, because you're going through it and you're feeling it.
yeah, and it's like me being a writer, like just The Crow just absolutely was like a big reason. And honestly, and I didn't fully understand it because I was like 4 when it came out. But then I realized like how much of an impact it's made in my life since then as I got older, and made me appreciate even more. But like, and what's even more scary when it comes to some of these movies, like a lot of people talk about how bland some like villains are, but like you
Right.
said, this is happening in real life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I love James Bond. Ian Fleming's another influence of my writing. And
Okay.
there was a movie with Pierce. It was a Pierce Brosnan movie. It was Tomorrow Never Dies,
Okay.
which I think has I think it involves Jonathan. I think that's the name of the one with Jonathan Pryce, who's the main villain. And he's
Okay.
this media guy. He's causing trouble to stir up stuff, and he's using his media to like stir up trouble.
Right.
And people would say, "Oh wow, he's bland. He's like boring." And I'm like, people have done this.
Yeah. Yeah. You can think it's boring all you want, but here's the problem. He created how much chaos in the movie just by doing what he did. You know what I mean? And it could take somebody bland in real life to do that as well.
Yeah, like look at social media.
Yep, correct. Correct. Like I don't air my stuff on social medias. Like I don't air what I'm going through a lot on there, because I don't trust social media as far as my personal life, realistically. I will trust it to advertise my wrestling shows. I'll advertise it, or I'll use it to, anything big and impactful in my life. Yeah, I'll throw that on there. Um, just to share it with people who look at me and say, okay, his life is perfect. Yeah, no, it's not. My life is not perfect. My life is far from perfect. In fact, if people knew what my life was like, they'd be like, how is he surviving?
Yeah.
So, but I'm not the only one in my situation. There are so many other people that are living my life. Like I said, they process it differently, and I process it differently. But there are so many people that, are going through the same things that I've gone through and am going through, and I'm sure that I will go through. There's that saying, going through hell or high water. Like, you go through the good times and the bad times. Usually it's said as, I'm with you through hell or high water. But if you look at yourself and say, I'm with me through hell and high water, that means no matter what comes, the good and the bad, you're not going to let yourself down. So finding ways to process your emotions and get through those bad times. I'm not saying be thankful for the bad of it. Be thankful for the good that is happening through the bad. Homelessness is a very, very scary thing. You find a friend's couch for a night. That one night feels like you're at the Ritz, Carlton Ritz hotels. Like you're at a 5-star hotel just for sleeping on a couch. Be thankful for that. You have homelessness, and you have people that can throw you change. Be thankful that you have something to eat. There are so many things in I don't want to just keep going on just homelessness, but just in life in general, like struggling to pay the bills. People are stressed. I'm working 2 jobs. I got to pay the mortgage. I got to pay my electric bills. I got to do all this. Where's the bad in doing what you should be doing? Granted, I think our wages should definitely be increased a lot so that we could survive without having to work 2 jobs just to make it work. But what about when you're way into work, the nature around you, or the view of your drive? I love nature, so my way to work, I'm surrounded by trees for a majority of the way there, and there's times where I'm looking, I'm like, I get so distracted sometimes driving, or not driving, but riding, that it's just like, wow, I just want to sit in the woods for an hour and just sit and just close my eyes and be still and just be with the woods. And having the woods right there I'm thankful for that, because I can literally do that. I can go into the middle of the woods and sit and just be in the middle of the woods and breathe, and having that nearby is thankful to me. Having friends, having people that I can, even if I don't feel like I can open up to them, having people that are nearby and want good for me, that's something to be thankful for.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm obviously very grateful for my kids. Like, I would not be the man I am today without them. That's 100% sure. Like, I would not be. I probably, in all honesty, and I'm shooting straight from the hip here, I probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for my kids. But besides being grateful to them, I owe them my life, and that's something I'll never sit back and say there's not one good thing in my life, because as long as my kids are breathing, there's 7 good things in my life.
No, absolutely, and I 100% agree with that. Like, and I'm not trying to guilt trip anybody when I say this, because I understand people go through pain, because I'm going through it too. Like the reason why you say that when you have your kids is that you're trying to be grateful, and you don't want to like set a bad example for those kids.
Correct.
Like you want to show them, you're like, hey, well, this is how you handle it. And now, granted, it's not easy, and I don't judge anybody that's struggled or took their own lives, even though I don't agree. It's not the way,
right?
But like you have examples of that to like show, but like, oh geez, if I do this, this could affect my kids. They'll be like, oh Jesus, this is how it should be.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Being in a role model position like that, where anything that I say or do can potentially affect my kids. Oh, for sure. That, the early parenting years of my life were hard, because it's like, oh, I have someone that's looking up to me. I gotta was harder to mind my P's and Q's and harder to know when to say certain things or do certain things. And as I've gotten older and had more kids, it becomes easier and easier to just, excuse me, it's easier to just be. So parenting isn't something that I feel like I'm trying to do. I'm just doing, because I want what's best for my kids, and being a good person, for me to be a good person is the best thing for them, because then they see, okay, don't kick a man when he's down. Don't make fun of somebody because of what they're wearing. Don't make fun of somebody because this is how they choose to do their hair or eyes or makeup or whatever. Don't insult somebody. And they thankfully do understand. Maybe not the youngest one right now, but they understand that there is a difference between the character, the wrestler that I portray when I'm a heel, versus the character I portray when I'm a babyface. There are two different characters. They're black and white. They're completely opposite ends of the rainbow. But they also know that whatever I say and do in the ring isn't what I say and do in real life. And so I'm grateful that I have taught them that too, because without that, then there'd be a lot of confusions. Like, wait, you say not to do this, but you made fun of this guy for this, and you made fun of this girl for that, and it's like, yeah, I don't have to explain it now because they know, and they know that what I say in the ring is not what I really mean, especially when they see me hanging out with that same person later and hugging them and thanking them and showing appreciation to them for the match or for what we did or the segment. And then they're like, this is what it is. And then explaining that is, when they see it and they see it and they see it, they know this is really cool. Dad gets to act like a punk, but he really isn't, especially when these people are really close with him. And so that it kind of gives a little leeway of showing them you can be a goofball with your friends, as long as you're in it together. I ain't going to sit there. If one of my friends was sensitive about something, I'm not going to bring that up, whether it's through promos or just in general, because I don't want them to be upset with me. I'm not going to use that as a teasing point, like, oh, I'm just kidding, because that's hurtful. But I will, if it's something that they need to talk about to get off their chest, come talk to me 100%, because I want to help you through it. So yeah, I'm glad that my kids know that there's that difference between the character and the real life person.
Yeah, no, exactly. And to add to your point, I think that's important too, because one of the things I'm worried about the younger generation is that, like, yeah, again, no one's perfect. Lord knows none of us aren't.
Right.
But there is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that are doing, and not trying to get in a big morality thing, but it's like, because again, no one's perfect. But I feel like the way the world is black and white, where people are like, hey, look, you're clearly taking advantage of a situation, or you're clearly doing something wrong. Let's just stop it before someone gets hurt. Where, like I said before, I think there's a right way, there's a healthy way and an unhealthy way to do things.
Oh, for sure.
And could it be unorthodox? Yeah, probably. But I think that's important though for a young mind, especially someone like, say, in our situations, we struggle with mental health. I think somebody, because I think if kids had that structure, or like, hey, look, this is why I don't want you to do certain things, or why that, I think we'd have kids with like less mental health problems.
For sure, absolutely. And also they have there's a big issue, a big disconnect between parents and their children, because parents are very much do as I say, not as I do. Where I try to very hard do as I do, because if I'm doing okay and if I'm doing good, then like I try to lead by example. And there's no way that I'm perfect, not by any measure whatsoever. So if I catch myself doing something that might be crossing the line, I'll let them know what I did was wrong, you know, yeah, and then I'll apologize to my kids for it. I'll apologize to whatever or whoever I did wrong to, so that they know, one, I can admit when I'm wrong. So can they. Two, humility, like saying sorry to my kids. I didn't hurt my kids, but they witnessed something, and I had like to show them I'm sorry for doing wrong to you because you saw this, and that opens up a wow, that's human. Like he's not a robot. Like he's got, he's able to be sorry for stuff. Like it, I think it helps with the bonding process with me and my kids. Letting them know that saying sorry is something I can do, and will do when like when I feel like I've hurt them, even if it wasn't my intention. If I said something that they thought, that hurt my feelings when you said that because this is what it made me feel like. Okay, even though that wasn't my intention to make them feel that way, if they still feel something because of what I said, I still hurt them. I don't have the right to say, well, you don't have a right to feel hurt because of what I said, because that's not how I meant it. No, I still apologize because I still hurt them. It doesn't matter how I meant it. It matters how it was perceived. And then I apologize for them, for what I said or did to hurt them. And then I say, this is what I meant. This is what I meant by this. I'm sorry that it didn't come out this way. And then it's a teaching moment as well. And it took a long time for me to learn that. A long time. And that's not even just with parenting. That's with like relationships, friendships, anything. Admitting when you're wrong and like apologizing for for someone else's perspective, because of I could have said the wrong thing. I could have done it wrong, even if I didn't. Even if I explained it how I thought there's no way this could be taken out of context. If they still feel or hear it a different way, I'm still upset that I hurt them, because I still hurt their feelings with my words or my actions. So then I have to, okay, here's what I meant. And I try to break it down a little bit more so they understand more. And like I said, it took a long time for me to figure that out.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that in a lot of ways. And I think, and I don't want this to sound like a negative towards the younger generation. I think they've definitely misinterpreted a lot of what the older generation has said and done.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, and I do think in a way we should try to toughen ourselves up mentally and all that stuff.
Yes.
But like to add on what you said, I think it's very important to like see it from their perspective. So when they hear it next time, they're like, okay, I see where he or she's going with.
Yes.
Like one of the things that I was self-harming over was because of besides the fact of my struggles with like scoliosis, cerebral palsy, I often wondered if my parents loved me. And they're not the I know they love me, but they're not necessarily the best at showing it. But gotcha. The more I saw it and the more I realized a lot of help through, God and my nan, I realized like, oh, they do love me. They just didn't know how to explain it. And there was other ways that they showed it. Like, for example, my dad used to work at a job where he's had been burnt and had metal falling on him, but he still showed up to work when he was able to because he knew he had kids to take care of. And I was like, wow, if that's not loving me, I don't know what is.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like my mom, when she was able to take off work to take care of me when I was sick, she did it. So it's like there's examples of all these young kids out there, and talk about being grateful and thankful. I'm grateful that even though they don't understand me because they were never really taught like what is going on. So how am I supposed to get help from them if they don't know because they were never taught? So it's kind of like, oh, I totally look at it differently now. I think that's important for a lot of the younger generation to realize. It's like they are trying. It's not perfect, but here's the thing: they are trying because they love you. So to any young person out there who is listening to this, people are trying. Appreciate the effort. They do love you. And so I think that's important too, to be thankful for, because it's like, I'll use my twin brother Chad, for example,
Mhm.
I think I honestly like to think, there's a reason why I'm a twin, and it's nice to have someone there all the time who gets me. He's really the
Right,
only one that really 100% get me.
right.
But not saying that nobody else can't understand me, but like for someone like who's been with me literally since day zero,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm thankful for my twin, and he's been there
yeah.
for me. And even if people like, I've always, like you mentioned earlier, I'm always excited to see you and the guys at HWF, because it's
Mhm.
always good to cover things for local events and also try to help build something for the community.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's just stuff like that I'm thankful for, and I'm glad that I realized it, because it does. I do worry sometimes. I'm like, man, am I still good enough? Or, man, what if I did something that could have ruined this?
Right. To add on what you were saying about, like, to saying something to the younger generation, and this goes for literally anybody, and you too. You don't have to do anything to deserve love. All right. It's not something like I have to do something to earn love or respect. You don't have to do anything to deserve it or to earn it. You are deserved that from the moment you're created. Um, Love is something that should be universal. Like, it's easier to love than to hate. It really is. Um, Kids are taught hate by their parents, whether it's through joking around about somebody's color or somebody's ideas or the way somebody dresses or somebody's nationality. Um, Love is something that a kid knows from day one. And if a kid grows up in a household where love is all that they know, they're not going to go out and pick on other people. They're going to go love those other people and share their love with other people, because love is such a good, strong feeling. So when somebody who is grows up in a house where there's nothing but love, and they meet somebody that grew up around hate, there's a huge confusion there. Like, what do you hate me for? Like, I love you, man. Like, I've done nothing wrong to you. So that person who grew up around hate probably didn't feel loved because they had to prove that they were good enough for love. You're good enough for love just by being alive. So don't ever think that you don't deserve love or that you're not enough, because that's bullshit. Straight up. No, you being alive, you breathing air, you deserve love. You don't have to do anything to earn it. You are worthy of love, and you are enough just by being yourself. And that's another thing that you can be thankful for. Is just you are enough by being you, not anybody else.
Yeah, and it's interesting though too, because a lot of these young kids, like, because I'm guilty of it too, because I use it with my real life and as well as my writing. I think a lot of kids that struggle with wanting to feel love, they try to create something to like let other people go through. Like for me, I wanted to create something where nobody else had to like feel what I felt,
Right.
and I
Right.
think people strive for that, even the ones that felt like they weren't loved because they were hurt, but they didn't want to see anyone else get hurt.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can get mixed up because, people can say one thing and they're thinking, like you said, you could say something and I'm thinking this way, but then you say it and the other person hears it. They're like, why did you say that? And you're like, well, I meant it like
Yeah.
this and that. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, it definitely can cause confusion. So you got to be careful. But at the same
Of
time,
course.
it's like, you got to let somebody explain themselves, or or things could just get more confusing.
Correct. And that's the thing. I'd rather somebody come up and say, hey, this is how I felt off of what you said, rather than hold it in and then feel a certain way about me over something that could have been a misunderstanding on both our parts. If I said something the wrong way and you took it the way that I said it, that's not, and it's not a thing where your perspective is wrong. Even I may have meant it a certain way, and just because it was translated differently than how I meant to say how I said it, doesn't mean that you were wrong for perceiving it that way. And that's one thing that a lot of people get worried about, is like, oh, if I go up and bring this up, they're going to say that I'm wrong for feeling this way, or make me feel bad for thinking this. No, there's going to be people out there that are like that, because they may not have learned yet to be humble and be empathetic and understanding that your words sometimes get mixed up. You can think the perfect way to say it, but your brain is not on the same wavelength as this person's, and that conversation happens, they can translate it differently. So now you got to have that little bit of communication to figure out, how do I get my point of what I was trying to say across, so this person understands that I wasn't trying to hurt them, and this is what I was trying to say. And it could be completely opposite of what they originally thought, and that happens a lot. um, and so it's hard for people to open that up, because they're worried about the, oh great, I'm just always wrong, I'm just always wrong, I'm just always wrong. And it's scary sometimes, but opening up is the best way you can clear that up.
Yeah, and like my twin brother Chad came up with something I thought was really clever, and it's so true. He goes, "Well, we all have to learn to love and understand each other." And he says, "What's the most
Mhm.
important word in that sentence?" And a lot of people said love, and he goes, "No,
Mhm.
wrong. The most important word in that sentence was and. You need to love
And
and understand each other."
yeah,
I was like,
absolutely.
"Oh, that was a great one." And you mentioned that earlier, like sometimes like when it comes to writing and like we talk about good storytelling and even music, people could listen to something or read something. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
I totally forget like this. Or you have these quote unquote experts say this is what this person meant when they wrote it. And I'm like, why don't you just ask the person who wrote it what it
Who
meant?
wrote it? Yeah.
Like people are
Yeah.
saying like, oh, this person was being hateful when they wrote about this. I'm like, what? No. He was
Yeah.
just he or she was just writing about like this because of that. Heck,
Yeah.
there's a lot of songs that I love listening to that when I like read the lyrics and then like listen to what they say it was about, I was like, "Oh wow, that was totally off what I thought it was."
Yeah. Yeah. And that's an amazing thing to bring up, because yeah, music is universal. Everybody listens to music, one type or another. But yeah, like, I can translate a song differently than you can, based off of what I hear or based off of what you hear. It could be the same words, but maybe we hear the tones differently. It could be the same words that we hear, but maybe you're going through something and it resonates with you differently than it resonates with me. So like that's also a great conversation piece to have with people around you, listening to music and talk about like, hey, what do you think this song means to you? And just because that also opens you up to, once again, like, love and understand people around you, especially the people closest to you. If I hear a song and I say, oh man, this is jumpy, I like it, and I dig it, and then someone else is like, it's really sad and heartbreaking. hmm it's gonna make me think, oh, I want to know why. I want to know what makes it that way for that person. And so I'll ask them, like, can you explain that to me? Just because I want to understand where their mind is. And then I can say, oh, wow, okay. I never thought of that before. And then that song can play again. And maybe the next time I hear it, my head's not in the same space as the time before. So maybe I'll feel what that person felt while hearing it. It's like, oh, man. And the greatest thing of that is love songs. You get a lot of love songs. And so if you're with somebody and you hear a love song, oh my God, it is the most beautiful piece of music there is, because you're in love and that song's just talking about exactly how you feel. You are now single and that love song comes up. I don't want to listen to stupid song. The song is painful now. So the song has a different meaning to you. And it's the same song that months or years before you would have grabbed your girlfriend up and danced with her in the hallway, and now that you can't do that, it's bitter for you now.
No, it's funny you say that because that's been kind of one of my struggles lately too. Is that I like to write like gothic romance and stuff
Okay.
like that, and and I have feelings and thoughts, but then it's like I've been hurt in the past, so it's like I'm trying to write it because there's times I feel like I feel like, oh wow, like romance is in the air, but then like I think about what happened. I'm like, this sucks. I don't know if I should.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a hard hurdle to jump over when you're trying to write and you're not feeling what you're writing, because you're trying to, like, what direction you want to go in. But if your mind's not in that direction, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and what also like hurts too, it's like not only it reminds me of some of the pain, even though I enjoy it, but like I've been hurt in the past, and it sucks.
Mhm.
Like the things I like to write sometimes is like hurting me, and then I'm like, then just how do I put this? Like it's just kind of one of those things. But then I'm like thinking about this also, like, am I a weirdo? Am I a bad person? So like, should I be writing this? Like that's when like a lot of that stuff kicks in, and I'm like, man. So it's kind of an up and down kind of battle for me. But again,
Yeah.
like, trying to be thankful. It's like, wow, okay, well, at least I have some people that understand that,
Yeah.
But again, it also involves me acknowledging, like, yeah, this could be a problem. But then I have some friends that are like, it's okay, Joe, you're good. Just stay true to like what you think it should be,
Exactly. And no, you're not a weirdo. Like, you have emotions, you have feelings. You're not weird for that.
Yeah, and also too, I will say this though, because I get annoyed when people do this. Like people try to like throw because of their bad experiences, they like to say like, oh, everyone's like that. I'm like, well, not everyone's like that.
Yeah, that's something that's a common occurrence. And there's times I felt like that too. Oh, every woman's going to treat me this way. And that hasn't been the case. But it's something that I had to experience. That not everybody's the same. And you're right. No, not everybody's the same at all. Not by a long shot.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, and I think that's where we're at too. I will say, like, a lot of people are because of the drama and all the uncertainty of what's going on and the lack of understanding as well as love. I think people are now scared to like really reach out anymore and like try to experience like life in general, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, especially when it's so convenient to not enjoy life. Enjoying life for a lot of people nowadays is sitting at home watching Netflix, you know, being on their phones all day and not enjoying the people around them. There's times where my 20-year-old son will sit there and he's just on his phone, just doom scrolling, and just I'm like, hey, then why don't you put that down? Like, let's go for a walk. And most times he'll be like, okay, and we'll go for a walk, just him and I, and we'll walk around Jim Thorpe and talk, and like, we don't pull our phones out the entire time we're walking, and we'll go for a 2-3 hour walk at like 8 o'clock at night. And it's one of my favorite things to do with Aiden, because it's time we're spending together, and all we're doing is talking. And it's sometimes just silly stuff. Sometimes we come up with some good ideas. Sometimes we just, bullshit. Sometimes, once in a while, we just walk and just be in each other's presence and don't say much at all. But it's like, it's never a negative experience doing that, because we're together, we're walking, we're doing something that we like, and we're not interrupted. And so going for walks is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, no, me and my twin do that as well. Like we try to walk to like keep ourselves active, but also to like just get out of the house. Because as much as I like to play video games and watch anime and like stuff on TV,
Yeah.
we gotta try to get out of the house or like read a book.
Read a book.
Yeah, like there's more than one way to have fun,
Yeah.
And but also I think you mentioned walks and all that stuff too. Like I have an older brother named Cody who helps with these talk shows. Those talk about being thankful. I had a moment with him. He came to visit us one weekend, and he already was aware of like my depression, and like he's I'll just say, like, while I'm sitting here struggling, he's been very successful, which I kind of got a little jealous of. For not a little, I was jealous of him. But I finally like confronted myself over this. I said, you know what? like, is this me just wanting to self-harm? And
Mm,
finally, when I talked to him about it, because he was aware of it, but he didn't really like realize it because he lives pretty far away. He's in Long Island, New York.
okay. Yeah, that's pretty far distance.
Yeah, but like, I remember talking to him about it, and he was like, he's like, you don't have to feel ashamed. You're trying your best. It's just
Hmm.
things worked out. And I'm not saying he didn't work hard. He worked very hard to get where he's at.
Right.
He's got himself a sports Emmy.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, he won one for Inside the NBA the other year.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and honestly, I bring this up because that was the first time I said I was proud of him, but I wasn't jealous.
Mhm. That you weren't jealous. That's good though. That's good.
Yeah, and going back to where he was a couple weeks ago when he came down to visit, I wasn't planning on talking to him about it, but we just
Right.
sat and talked. Like it's
Yeah.
just part of me. I guess where I'm ultimately getting at is like sometimes you may not realize it, but you may have needed that.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm thankful for moments like that.
Absolutely. That's a great moment to share for you, brother, because I'm sure that's something that he was very grateful that you brought up too, because that brought you guys, and I'm sure that brought you guys a little bit closer too.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and like, and I'm sure that's like how you feel like with your sorry,
It's
but
okay.
how you feel about with your children, like you said about going to walk
Yeah.
with your Aiden, and like even like playing a video game or watching sports, or even just like working on a crossword puzzle or something. Like you're spending
Yeah.
time with your kids, and that you may not realize it at the time, but it's like, wow, I'm really glad Dad was here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, he'll come. He'll message me something, and he'll be like, "Oh my God, Dad, I got something really exciting to tell you." He won't tell me over the phone. He always waits to tell me in person because it's something that he wants to share and wants to see my expression when he shares it. So that's another thing. Like, and that's something that I love for my kids. And like I go on walks with my other kids too, but Aiden's the one that lives with me. So him and I go on walks more often than my other kids. But when I do go on the walks with the other kids, they love it because they don't do that much except for Chase. Chase and his mama go for walks a lot. Um, but but yeah, like sharing news of something exciting. I do the same thing to him. It's like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell you when I get home this. I got something great to tell you. And he gets that anticipation built up. Like he's already excited by the time I have to tell him something. And I know that feeling because he does the same thing to me. So it's ah, there's so much out there to be grateful for and thankful for. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and all you have to do is you don't have to stop feeling what you're feeling to feel grateful. You can still feel hurt, you can still feel your sadness, still feel your anxiety, but by allowing yourself to find the things that you can be grateful for, that helps ease those feelings too. And there are some people that I know that sit there and say, I'm scared of letting go of this pain, or I'm scared of letting go of this hurt or this anger because I don't know what I'm going to feel besides that. Like, yeah, it is scary. Just try it though.
Yeah, no, like they're afraid of like, well, if I don't have this, then will I just be numb?
Right, right. But you're only going to find out if you go through the emotions. And no, I don't think you're going to be numb. I think you're going to find, happiness in small doses. But happiness in small doses is more than sadness in big doses.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and again, it's all about being grateful and thankful for those
Yeah,
opportunities because, like I said before, like you may have needed that and you just didn't realize it.
yeah, absolutely.
And it's I think that's important. And of course, I know a holiday Thanksgiving tradition is going to be happening here soon. My twin brother and I we like to watch. We kind of like the classics, or we're going to be watching here sometime this week. We're going to be watching the Garfield Thanksgiving special.
Okay. Okay.
I
For
love
me, my go-to is Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
that. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's my classic go-to.
Do you think you'll kick the football?
Yeah. Oh, every year I cheer for him.
Oh, I love it. It's a classic. But yeah,
Yes.
no, it's but and trying to stay on a more positive note as well. But like I do find it interesting, like when we talk about Thanksgiving and all that stuff. But my three, even though I'm not too much in the cold weather,
Mm.
my three favorite holidays are like the final 3 months of the year, like Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas.
Thanksgiving, Christmas. Yeah,
But do
I
you ever,
feel that.
yeah,
I
do you
feel
ever,
that.
yeah, but if you don't mind me asking your opinion on something, you think sometimes people skip Thanksgiving?
I think some people do. Um, I would hope that they don't, because Thanksgiving isn't just about the turkey and it's not just about the mashed potatoes and the food. It's about the family getting together, and it's a time for you to give thanks. Um, whether you believe in religion or the universe or don't believe in anything, you can still give thanks to something. Give thanks to yourself for making it another year. Give thanks to the sun for creating energy, and helping photosynthesis for the plants for harvests. You can give thanks for the air in your lungs, water to drink and bathe in. There's so many things you can give thanks for. It doesn't have to be the major things that other people get thankful for. Being thankful for the smaller things sometimes mean more. And I used to do this thing with my kids, and they kind of grew out of it a little bit, where we would, all say one thing we're thankful for that day before dinner, at dinner time. And usually that turned into conversation throughout the rest of the dinner. And as time went on, the kids, can we not do it tonight? Can we not do it tonight? And it's something that I was like, yeah, we don't have to do it tonight, but like it, once in a while, I'll still bring it back. And then when I do, they get excited about telling me what they're thankful for that day. It's like, oh, yes, yes, I'm thankful for this because this good thing happened to me today. Um, but yeah, I do think there are some people who do skip it. Um, and I would really urge those people to not skip it.
Yeah, because the reason why I bring this up is because I've been noticing, especially like recent years, like I would say, like even the past like decade, like I would watch like I'm so excited, I love Halloween, but now it's time for Thanksgiving. But then as soon as like Halloween's over, they just go right into Christmas stuff, and I'm like, we're not even at Thanksgiving yet. Like, what's
Yeah, I have a rule with how I am with the kids when it comes to the holidays. After Halloween is Thanksgiving. We don't listen to Christmas music until we can listen to it at like Thanksgiving night after we've had dinner, because then, Thanksgiving is essentially over at that point. Or like we used to watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Once you see Santa Claus on the on Thanksgiving Day Parade, then you can start talking about Christmas. Otherwise, Otherwise, let's celebrate Thanksgiving first.
yeah, like I just wondered, and maybe it's just the commercials and all that stuff, but you know how
Yeah,
everything seems to be commercialized nowadays.
yeah, yeah. That's because it's hard for them to commercialize Thanksgiving except for food.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too much of a Debbie Downer, but I just think everything's. But I think everything's become like so commercialized. I think sometimes people forget like the true meaning of things.
Oh, I agree 100% on that. No matter what the holiday is, when it's being commercialized, the true meaning is being hidden somewhere because it's all about the dollar. Whereas the meaning behind things aren't as prevalent to commercialism, unfortunately. Like we can't make money on good feelings, so they don't care to advertise it.
Well, yeah, it's funny you say that because you talk about being thankful. One of my favorite things, especially once December hits, the 25 days of Christmas. And I
Mhm.
don't know, do you remember watching the Little Drummer Boy?
Oh yeah, yep.
I love watching that, but honestly, to me, it's like become more relevant even now as I get older because I loved it as a kid, but now I think of it differently as I'm older because there's a scene in there talking about how you guys do realize money didn't always exist, right? And like the
Right.
soldiers are like, "What? No money? How do we do things?" Like,
Yeah. There was trade then. There was just being. There was community and sharing. You know,
Yeah, like
that's
people. Yeah, like for example, like you're good. Say we had our own little community, right?
yep,
Like people wouldn't like they wouldn't pay you. They'd be like, "Oh, well, this guy's really good. Like, oh wow, Draven's really good at building houses. Well,
yep.
let's follow his lead for the community and building houses and buildings and stuff. That's
Hmm.
what sometimes people would show your worth.
Yeah, yeah. And then likewise, there's people who were great with music, and so like those communities would fight. Like you hear about how the natives would sit by the campfire, and you'd see pictures or videos of how they represent um, Iroquois, or not Iroquois, just natives in general. How there's certain people that's dancing around the fire, and the women are with the kids, and they're doing their thing. They have their roles, and they're doing their roles, and they're enjoying it, and they're the ones that are dancing are doing because they are good at it and they enjoy it, and the ones that are beating the uh
The drums.
the claw, they beating the drums, yeah, they're into it, and the music is matching the dancing because everybody's feeling that vibe. And then you get the women in the back, and or the men and women, children in the back, and they're singing along to the beat of the drum, they're singing along to the dancing, and you have this beautiful thing that they don't rehearse, they just do. And it's some of the most beautiful things you can witness, and they don't practice it, they just do it because they love it. It makes them happy.
Yeah, exactly. And also to you mentioned that. How about the Hawaiian tradition?
What's that?
You ever heard of the Hawaiian tradition? Like you see the dancing and all that there.
Yes, yep.
Like I like how it always blows my mind how they perform, especially when they bring out like the sticks with flames
Yes,
and
yep.
they're spinning them around. Like holy crap, that's incredible.
I'd be afraid I'd set myself on fire.
No, I hear you on that, but well, and really, like I listened to. We kind of talked about it earlier. Like we listen to music and all that stuff too.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of old classical stuff that I wish the younger kids would listen to, and like this is like amazing stuff. Like you go over to like say like in feudal Japan, you see them play like those little, like holy moly, those are beautiful sounds.
Oh, very much so. And they play the same songs for generations.
Yeah, and it's like I never get bored. Or like even like Beethoven. You ever listen to
Mhm.
Beethoven?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like that's some amazing stuff. Like I can listen to that as much as like say Black Sabbath or
Yeah.
Demon Hunter.
Yeah. My music playlists, there's not one of them that is just normal. It's just it'll go from you'll get Andro I can't say his name now. Andre Bocelli singing Gante Patrio, and then you'll hit Backstreet Boys, and then after that you might get Elvis Presley, and then after that you're getting Taproot, and then after that you're getting Avril Lavigne, and then you're getting Nirvana. So like it's just a roll of the dice of what you're going to get from my music playlist.
Yeah.
Literally, there's everything in there.
No, I'm the exact same way. And to be honest with you, I'd rather have it be that way because, like,
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, I came from the rock metal scene, but like, and I do still love it, but I like to add some blues every once in a while, some
Mhm.
country, and like what we talked about too, like Gregorian chants, like you hear in
Yes.
like churches. I love listening to them. I also love listening to like Native American chants.
Oh, absolutely, because it's you can feel it. It's something like if you ever listen to that. I To go to sleep, a lot of times I put on frequency music where there's no lyrics, there's no words, it's just noise. And you close your eyes and I hear it, and my mind goes on its own journey, and it helps me go to sleep because I'm closing my eyes, and whatever comes to my mind when I'm listening to it, it just sends me on a journey, and I enjoy it, and oh, those are some of the best night sleeps is when I put on frequency music and close my eyes and let my mind let my like clear my mind and let my brain figure out what the music is doing.
Oh, I recommend a YouTube channel called Rain for the Brain. That's pretty
Okay.
good.
All right. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, Rain for the Brain. It's pretty good. And I also like listening to noise. Like I always thought it was weird as a kid, but now like I appreciate it. They talk about being thankful. I appreciate
Yeah.
it more, and I don't hide it. When I was a little kid, I used to love listening to the sound of water. Like
Oh, yeah.
I would just sit there, and while my mom was doing like the laundry, I would just sit there and listen to the laundromat and the water in it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a like that
Yeah,
being sloshed around. Yeah.
yeah, and I also like the sound of like the shower.
Okay. Okay.
Like it, just as weird as it sounds, it's just I don't know. It's just something about water has always been like calming to me. And
Well,
you
there's
mentioned,
nothing wrong with water. I love water.
oh no, I definitely yeah, same here. I will say, you talk about spirituality and all that stuff. I've been thinking about a blue koi fish lately.
Okay. Hmm. Maybe you should look it up and see what it means.
Yeah, actually, I did. Actually, it's funny you say
Okay.
that. I looked it up. It talked about like masculinity, like in search, which is honestly the truth. You know, someone that struggles with mental health. It talks about search of peace,
Okay. Okay. That's good.
and it's also a lot of it's from the Japanese culture, which I do like Japanese culture.
Hmm.
So it's like, oh wow, it's like I like to think there are moments like that that make me stop and think like, you know, to me is like there's proof of God and like he's helping me. Like, oh, I'm trying to find ways to relax, and he's like, well, try this. I'm like, wait, what? Like here's a cool story. I always thought it was cool, but like I remember one time I was really stressed out. I was like really depressed, and I was just like, oh man, God, I'm just really stressed out. I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? And I
Yeah.
get in the car and I turn it on. I hit the radio, and as soon as I say that, the song "Carry On My Wayward Son" starts playing.
Good song.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I felt like I asked God about something, and then like He answered it like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I
It,
don't know.
it works mysteriously like that. Like you could get signs through songs. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know. I just again, I'm just so thankful for those moments because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't realize I needed that, and but yet here we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, but so what are your future plans heading towards Thanksgiving?
So I friends or family friends that they're having a Thanksgiving on Wednesday because they have family coming in that can only make it on Wednesday, not Thursday, because they're doing stuff with their family on Thursday. And they're like, hey, we really want you to be there. So Thanksgiving, we're going to do that that Wednesday. And then Thursday, probably going to my sister's because they invited us to Thanksgiving as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I get two Thanksgivings.
Oh boy, be careful with how much you eat there, huh?
Thank God I don't have any wrestling in December, so I can, can work out and get myself in almost decent shape. Because January 3rd, like I have a booking. Like in January, I think I'm booked up every weekend in January for wrestling. So it's going to be one of those things where it's like, well, December's getting to shape month. I'm not waiting for the new year to do a resolution. It's an old year resolution, I guess.
Yeah, every year resolution, really, but
Yeah.
December is not going to be any easier too when it comes to trying to keep weight down.
Yeah, well, I like being outside more into like I'm not a big fan of the cold, but being outside burns more fat for me for some reason when it is colder because I walk a little quicker, a little bit faster because I want to get out of the cold. So my body heat is like increasing as I'm walking. I have a cap on, so the body heat's not escaping, and so I'm like drenching myself essentially sauna suiting myself without trying to. It's just I enjoy doing it, and it's so December is going to be pretty interesting. Seeing how much weight I could possibly lose.
Well, I wish you well on your journey on that.
I'll be happy no matter what because just the theme of the topic. I'm thankful that I had two Thanksgivings this year.
No, amen to that. And for me, like I said, it'll probably be me and my twin are going to be watching some Garfield.
There
And
you
then,
go.
have ourselves a family dinner on Thursday.
Good.
And And with that being said, I'd like to say I'm thankful that you were able to come back on today.
And I'm very thankful that I was invited back.
Thank you so much. And I hope and pray nothing but the best for your family and you enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you, brother, and the best to you and your brother and your family as well.
Thank you so much. And to all of you who are watching, I'm thankful for you for watching, and I love you all, and God bless. Be safe, everybody.
Love you.